It's a Tinman, nice quiet moment. You see that bend in that tree? You got it there, coming up, and then it does a twister, and then it continues to go up near there. You can see where there used to be a twister. Well, that's the tree that used to be all crunched down here. It was all within that lower communication wires. And look at how tall it is, partly because it was growing in the last year and a half, and because it's also stood up. There's cousins to it over this direction that did the same thing. I'm expecting to watch these couple of trees where they're longer branches, right, these flowering ones right here. They will stand up as high as these flag poles. But the big reason why I brought you here is not just because of this guy. Let's just walk this way for a second. But another reason of how I know they're around here, okay? So let's check out the other reason. Well, here's another reason. And it's right here at these stairs. And this is where I come and I do much of my Wi-Fi experience. So just last weekend, I had a couple of buddies that have come by and visited. Part of the reason why they're buddies is because they're finding a big interest in what I'm doing. One of the guys has come through the YouTube system to become a buddy, where he comes out and visits now almost every weekend. His name is Jay, and he comments quite often, and he comments on other people's channels and such. But anyways, he was here last weekend, and we got into the little bit of a talk, and I pointed out to him that I said there was only 3 or 4 of these kind of scuffs like this going on here, along here. Now there's getting to be more. Another thing I pointed out to him, I said there's hardly on the upper level. You know, there's hardly any of them, and there really isn't much going on there. There looks like there's slight scoring. You can see scoring on the front of the steps in that crack line. You can see how it's a little bit cleaned up so the scoring can go on. Okay, so another thing that I also pointed out to him when we were here, I said, look they're not leaving any deposits. So there was hardly any remnants of this kind of deposit being left alone. Another thing, and so you can see that it's on top of the moss. Another thing about it was, I actually came up with a key a couple of times I've done this, so I'm not exactly sure if I did it with Jay that time, but I would pick at it with a key just to see what this substance was all about. Another thing you can start to notice is, not with this one, but this one over here. You can see how the rock is actually starting to be jimmied, I think, a little bit too. Like, where I think it'll get bad enough where this rock that's not making a real hollow noise will come out more. Over here I noticed, to me it looks like they've mixed in a little dirt with it to just give it a little bit of a look. And where you're going to get dirt from, you could get it from right there if you wanted to. And oh yeah, this one, you know, doesn't necessarily fully look like that one's been dug on just in the last week like some of these other ones, but this might have not have been last week, but I know, because I think I've noticed this maybe within the last couple of weeks, and that's what you kind of notice, is you'll start to notice just a couple of chippings, and then they just further at those chippings. One of the things about this too is, I believe I'm starting to see that shadow space in there heavier now. So I believe this separation is starting to happen bigger right now. And that's one of the things on the upper steps I've noticed. And see, like I'm talking about, just little cleaning. You know, they keep the moss out of the way where they've done their work, and you can see where this fracking is gone, and then it's gone there. So it's not as heavily chipped, obvious, so that's a really nice. This one, really, we could almost call it that it doesn't have any of those big chipping excavations. There's one there, but there really isn't much. So that's really cool, look at that. Let me even tap that and see how hollow that sounds. Okay, so this piece is all ready to be even come out, but not unless you work it like that. So if you lift it, no, it can lift straight out then. It's got dirt. Not a very thick looking piece of concrete. I wonder if they've already pulled that out and worked under there, tossed some dirt in there. Peace out from the Tinman. And for those who want to have a little bit better look there, because I do too. I'm calling dirt's been dropped in there. That's what I'm calling. Peace out from the Tinman. This excites me, and people who can see what I'm talking about, you know there is slight possibility. And then I talk about these other things that all go on in this area, right here. Like it's a big interstate for them to get down to their bigger highways, like the railway system and the river systems. That's their main highways. And these ones are connectors that go up. And you could go along here, and you connect in with a good valley there, and then you go up through the little foothills, and it's just valley after valley after valley in this area here. We constantly are climbing like this in this area here. Every 100 feet you go back, you're going up 100 feet, something like that. So, and water and stuff has to get down, and we're full of valley systems. So we are the Fraser Valley, and we're not just one valley. You'll look over on those mountains there, you can just see that there must be a whole bunch of little valley streams and stuff coming down into this great big valley. Peace out from the Tinman. That tree is I kid you not, man. It's probably, I'd say double, at least. And those two there were below the communication lines, and they both stood up too. Peace out from the Tinman.